Hello guys, finally it's time to create our first simple dummy test with Cypress. You will learn how to put together a simple scenario and simple test steps, how to run it via Cypress UI, and how does it look like when your test fails. So first, let's open our Cypress folder, let's go to the integrations, and inside integrations, let's create new folder, and let's give it the name, for example, the examples. And inside examples, let's create our first spec and name it, for example, simple.spec.js. And here in that simple spec, you'll create our first test. So every test should start with something called describe. And describe is simply a way to group our tests in Mocha. We can nest our tests in the groups as deep as we want. And basically describe takes two arguments. The first is the name of the test group and the second is callback function. So let me demonstrate you. If we type disc like describe, then we will give a description to our scenario. For example, my first simple test with Cypress. And then you can see it invoked the callback function. And inside we need to create a test or test step. And we can do it by calling it function like this. And it is either a single small test or a test step, which can be a part of a larger scenario. And it basically has a same structure. So first is a description of that step. So in our case, let's give it a description. True should be true. And let's create a super simple test with only one assertion. And just to demonstrate how does it work or how to run the Cypress test, we will simply call expect true to equal true. So basically this test doesn't test any website yet, but don't worry, we will get to it later. And here, what we are basically testing, that the true value is true. So what to do now? Our test is complete. So now we want to open the terminal and we want to call npm run sci open to open our UI application. And now you can see we have an examples folder, which is same as this under the integrations. And here we have a simple spec, which is our spec, which we have created here. And how to run it? It's simple. Just click on the simple spec here in the test runner. And when you click on it, it automatically spins up the browser and it runs our first test. And as you can see, the only step here is expected true to equal true. We didn't do anything in the browser. And as you can see, it's green, which means our test was successful. And let me just now show you how does it look like when your test fails. So I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna stop the test. And for now, we can also close this. And now I'm going to change expected true to equal false. Let's save it. Let's call npm run sci open again. And now if we run our simple spec again, we should see the test to fail. And as you can see, the test is now marked as red, which means that the scenario was not successful. And it failed on the assertion error that those test expected true to equal false, which is of course not true. So this is how does it look like. Whenever your Cypress test pass, it will be green, and whenever your test fails, it will be marked red, and you will see the error message. So it will help you to debug and solve the problem. And basically in the later videos where we will be automating the browser, we will also see all the steps on the right side and you will be able to go back and see what happened in each test steps, and also how does the state of the browser look like inside that step. But more to that later, and let's just close it for now. And let me clear it. And congratulations, you have created your first Cypress test. And from now on, we will be only extending this and adding a lot of more Cypress commands, scenarios, and eventually we will end up with a complex automation framework. So I think that's it for now, and see you in the next video.